Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to Legends and Enchantments, the place where magical stories come to life. Today, I'm bringing you a truly sweet and captivating tale, one that will warm your heart and spark your imagination. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now, sit back and enjoy the legend of the Clockmaker's wishes. He called it the Heart of Time. But the Heart of Time needed one final piece, a wish made from the soul. Thorin stood before the clock one final time. His workshop glowed with thousands of ticking lights, but the heart was still and silent. He placed both hands on its frame and closed his eyes. "I would give anything," he whispered, "to see her again. Just once. Just one moment." The clock shuddered. The gears spun backward. The candles dimmed. And time bent. When Thorin opened his eyes, the house was warm again. The window was open, and the scent of blue flowers filled the air. And in the doorway stood Alira, smiling, her silver shawl fluttering in the breeze. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. He walked to her. She opened her arms. They embraced like it was the first time and the last. In that moment, no clocks ticked. No time passed. Only love remained. Outside, the villagers noticed something strange. The crooked house was still there. But its windows were dark. Its door wouldn't open. The ticking had stopped. Forever. Years later, a child wandered too close and peeked through a crack in the window. Inside, he saw a workshop filled with clocks frozen in time. And at the center of the room stood two figures, an old man and a woman, locked in a silent embrace, glowing with soft golden light, as if time had paused to let them be. And so, the legend of the Clockmaker's wish lived on. They say, on the quietest nights, when the moon is full and the stars are kind, you can still hear the faint ticking of a heart-shaped clock, echoing across the hills, carrying the sound of a love that even time could not break. In a forgotten corner of a quiet village nestled between snowy hills and whispering woods, there stood a crooked little house with a tall, leaning chimney and a ticking sound that never stopped. Inside that strange little home lived an old man named Thorin, known to the townsfolk as the Clockmaker. Thorin had lived in the village longer than most remembered. He spoke little, laughed rarely, and spent nearly every waking moment in his workshop, surrounded by wooden wheels, brass gears, and glass domes filled with the soft golden glow of candlelight. His shop smelled of sawdust and time. And though many passed his crooked house each day, few ever stepped inside. But Thorin's clocks were not ordinary clocks. They didn't simply tell the time. They whispered it. Some ticked in patterns that matched a child's heartbeat. Others spun in rhythm with the falling of snow or the blooming of spring. There were clocks that rang only at twilight, clocks that hummed songs from forgotten lands, and one clock, locked in a glass case, that never moved at all, but made those who stared at it feel as though years were passing. Thorin wasn't born a clockmaker. Many, many years ago, he had been a traveler, a dreamer, a boy who chased clouds. But something changed when he met her. Her name was Alira. She wore a shawl of silver thread, and her voice sounded like wind chimes in the breeze. They met under a tree full of glowing fireflies, and Thorin, who once believed he'd never stay in one place, never wanted to leave her side again. They built a life in the crooked house. It was Thorin who bent the chimney on purpose. He said he wanted their smoke to always drift east, toward the morning sun. And it was Alira who planted the flowers that bloomed blue even in winter. She brought warmth into the house, music into the air, and time seemed to slow down when she smiled. But time, even the most magical kind, does not wait forever. Alira grew ill. The blue flowers wilted. The house grew quieter. And one day, Thorin was alone. He locked himself in the workshop after that. 4 weeks. 4 months. 4 years. No one in the village heard from him. The clocks in the window glowed and spun and whispered, but the man behind them grew older, grayer, and quieter with each passing season. What no one knew was that Thorin had made a wish. The night Alira's soul slipped beyond the reach of his hands, he looked up at the stars and whispered to them. If time took her from me, he said, then time must bring her back. And so, he began. He built a clock unlike any other. Not to measure time, but to find it, twist it, fold it like paper. He carved the frame from ancient oak found deep in the whispering woods. He forged the gears from silver that had fallen from a meteor one autumn night. He used a crystal gifted by a traveler who spoke only in riddles and claimed it once sat in the eye of a dragon. Every night, he tuned the clock. It didn't tick like the others. It pulsed, like a harp.